Welcome to day 2 of our Bedtime Yoga series. Today we're going to be exploring tabletop and lying on the front of the body. But before we get started, let's begin with our 5 full breaths. So just finding a comfortable seat for a moment. That can look however you want it to. Think about sitting tall, crown of the head reaching towards the ceiling, shoulders relaxed. And take a full breath in and a full breath out. Full breath in, full breath out. And take 3 more of these at your own pace. And as you come to the end of your next breath, then you can start to adjust yourself into tabletop or all fours. Probably best for you to position yourself towards the back of the mat so that when we come down to lying on the front of the body, we've got a little bit of space to work forward. I'm going to pop some cushions under the knees for a little bit of extra comfort in this practice. And as we make our way into this shape, we just want to feel like shoulders are roughly over wrists and knees are roughly under the hips. From there, I just want us to start by bringing in a little bit of a circling motion through the hips. It's almost like we're taking the bum back ever so slightly, sweeping it around to the left, bringing the bum forward, and then taking it over to the right side. So we'll take 5 of these in one direction. Moving as fast or as slow as you want. And then as you come to the end of the 5th movement, reverse the circling. Take it in the opposite direction. And as you come to the end of the next movement, return to your tabletop position. Make any little adjustments to your stance so that you're a bit more comfortable. And then we're going to start to move into our cat-cow. So as we start to breathe in, begin to stretch the front of the t-shirt, look towards the top of the mat. And as we breathe out, stretch the back of the t-shirt, look towards the knees, and just move between these 2 points with the breath. And as you're making these shapes, let the neck be the last thing that moves. Try to mobilize the spine as much as you can, and then move the neck. We're going to go through this once more. Breathing in, stretching the front of the t-shirt, looking forward into cow pose. And then reversing that, stretching the back of the t-shirt, looking to the knees for cat pose. Returning to that neutral position. I just want us to start to come into a side bend. So all we're going to do is walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. And then shift the hips over to the left, right? So hands are to the right, hips are shifting to the left. Just take 3 breaths here. As you next breathe in, pass through center. As you breathe out, take the hands over to the left side of the mat and press the hips over to the right. And as you next breathe in, bring the hands back into the middle, finding tabletop once again. And we've got two options here. Option one is a child's pose. Big toe coming together, knees opening a little bit wider, and just pressing the bum back towards the heels. And my suggestion is always to come down to forearms. Let the chest drop, let the head drop as you just prop yourself on these forearms. An alternative position you can practice here is your puppy pose. So we keep knees underneath the hips. We come down to the forearms and we just think about dropping chest and chin down just like we did in child's pose. But in this shape, the bum is staying up and over the knees. Wherever you're at, let's take 4 more breaths. And as you next inhale, bring yourself back up to tabletop. And we're going to start to transition to lying down onto the front of the body. So walking the hands forward, we're going to curl down. So we're going to push the hips forward, drop the thighs down, the hips, the abdomen, the chest, and then the chin. And as we make our way down, let's stack one hand on top of the other and just rest the chin or the forehead on the back of the hands. From here, if you've got any padding underneath the knees, you may want to move it out, and you can do that now. And then all we're going to do is bend the legs and just start to shift the legs from side to side. Just sway in the lower leg. And then when you next pass through center, just place those legs back down. And I want us to bring ourselves into sphinx pose now. So bringing ourselves up onto the forearms, we're extending the forearms forward. We want the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders. And we just don't want them under the shoulders in a forwards and backwards direction. We also want the elbows under the shoulders in a left to right direction. So I always think about it as it's almost like you're squeezing the chest. And then that way we can press down into the forearms. Lift the chest, lift the chin, and just look off into the distance as you find this back bend. Feet can be pointed or toes can be tucked under. Choice is yours. I often struggle with cramp in my feet. So a lot of the time you'll see me tuck the toes under to just help with that. And we're going to be here for about 10 breaths. So return to that full breath. If you want to exit the pose at any point, please do. About halfway there. And as you come to the end of your next breath, just open those elbows wide, restack the hands, and drop chin or forehead back to the top of the hands. From here, hands are going to come back under the shoulders, and we're going to reverse that little lowering down. We did that little curl down. We're going to bring ourselves back up. So, lifting chin, chest, pressing through the hands, starting to lift the abdomen, the hips, the front of the thighs. Bring yourself back into your tabletop position. And then from here, you can walk the hands back, maybe sitting bum to heels if that's comfortable for you. And that brings us to the end of our practice. There's no relaxation. It's time for you to go to bed. Rest easy, my friends. Thank you so much.